Okay, this is part 5 of the unbiased real truth on professional wrestling and freeing Eric Bischoff in court. I know, I'm sorry it's 5 parts, but I really, like I said before, I really want to give a real proof of everything. I didn't want to half-ass this. Trust me, it's been haunting me for years how Vince McMahon had all this bullshit on people. And so I wanted to make sure we got this right. You know, God bless my girlfriend for dealing with all this stoppages with the fucking camera running out of battery and this and that. So, alright, and we left off where I was showing you how Vince McMahon's corporation, where he became the evil owner, and kept Rock with the title, was an exact ripoff of NWO Hogan and Eric Bischoff turning as the evil boss first. Now here's you see DX. Okay? Now there's 6 from the NWO. Now he's there as himself as X-Pac. How convenient he's in both. And look at Triple H looking like Kevin Nash. It's the same thing. They just copied everything years later. It's not that I don't like it, it's just that it is a ripoff. There's Austin getting arrested, like you saw Kevin Nash getting arrested first. Here's the NWO. Here's the first time. This is 96 now. You gotta remember, that was a big deal. They were the first to do this. The start of showing outside, acting like real people. You saw before I showed you the WWF, you didn't see stuff like that. They were just in the ring. You just saw a little... So you see how they're looking for... They destroy Lex Luger's limo here. As they're, you know, to fuck with them, the NWO. And then that's what influenced Austin stuff, where he, 2 years later, would destroy Vince McMahon's car. Now that's really cool the way he did the cement. I'm just saying that he copied everything to where you wouldn't have an Austin if it wasn't for, well, the NWO. There's Eric Bischoff in the AWA, which was one of the companies Vince McMahon helped fuck over. But Eric Bischoff got them on ESPN. And everybody acts like, oh, pro wrestling's a joke. And it's not considered a real sport, so it can never be on ESPN. Well, that's thanks to Vince McMahon making it a big joke with his stupid clown gimmicks and everything. He's the one who ruined... Vince McMahon literally destroyed wrestling completely without even realizing it back in '84 when he had that, you know, without even realizing it, he destroyed it from the beginning. Because he destroyed its chances of being considered a real sport by doing his stupid, dumb, kiddie gimmicks of, like, dentists and dumb hockey players and dumb, in no storylines. Or no, like, real wrestling. Just dumb idiots, like, punching each other with no wrestling. So where people saw that and they're like, well, this is a joke and it's fake. And they made it look fake. They didn't even help its cause. And then they ruined its chance of being a real TV show. Because I showed you here about what WCW did. And also ECW, which I didn't get to do. But how they made it into what? A real, like, soap opera TV show with actors, and you see the characters, and it continues every week. It's a TV show. Now, do you see wrestling ever get considered for Oscars or any type of TV show award or anything? No, because it's put in a category of a freak. They're like, well, it's not a sport because it's fake. And then like, well, it's not a TV show because they look at WWF's product and they just look at dumb clowns and the stupid shit now, but they don't even do any storylines. So Vince literally ruined it from being anything. Isn't that ironic? That at first he thought when he broke away from the territories and went national and fucked everyone over and been the only one, he thought he'd make it into this super thing and ended up just being, now it's just a shell of nothing where no one even knows what to do with it and he has no one to copy off of. Isn't that funny? So that's what happened. So I just wanted to say that, and that's just, nobody ever thinks about this stuff. That's why I want to, so okay, you've been seeing Scott Hall in the NWO when he took over. There he is in the AWA.
We go there.
That's what he looked like then. They just see how Vince, they just took all there's Piper in the NWA, which would, you know, later Ted Turner made WCW. That's him there when he was already a big star in WWF. Then you see him in WWF here, see? Same character. See, Vince just took who was already, they already were made. And just took it, and everybody thinks like, oh yeah, Piper is WWF. Rowdy Piper. No. Another example real quick is, see him right there? That's Ron Simmons. He won the WCW World title. This is like 92, 93. WWF takes him, and they just put they're the one who steal him off WCW. See, Vince McMahon lied to everyone saying WCW and Eric Bischoff took all his stars. No, all these guys were in WCW first. And he took them. See, there's for later on. This is 97 during the whole Monday War between Nitro and Raw. This is Raw. See how he took all of them. He got WCW's leftovers that they weren't using. Also, you saw how Kevin Nash was that cool rebellion guy breaking in to the show earlier. And how then you saw DX. Well, Triple H here, you know, the leader of DX, which is a copy of NWO. He's a snooty rich guy here named Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Vince didn't even want him to be that rebellious, like I said before. They just copied the NWO after. He's really just this snobby rich guy with a cane, like the Penguin from Batman. And then you got your hillbillies, the Godwins. And then I'll show you a clip of 84. Now look at this. Same fucking thing. This is 97. Okay? Now look at this. This is 84. Red, white, and blue hillbilly. Vince doesn't ever come up with anything. Okay. One last thing. Remember we were talking about in part 1. In part 1. Now this is important. Okay. In part 1, I was talking. We were reading from Mick Foley's book. We were talking about how Shane Douglas was that great rebellious badass in ECW, and then he went to WWF to try to, you know, score some big money and maybe get big. And Vince fucked him over by just making him a school teacher. Well, okay. Remember when we talked about in the last part about how WCW got fucked over because of that merger, and they just canceled it, and they wouldn't sell it to Eric Bischoff. They purposely didn't sell it to Eric Bischoff because he was Ted Turner's buddy, so they went behind and sold the name and everything to Vince McMahon. So now he just makes money off the footage of WCW and ECW with his little DVDs. Hold on a second. Okay, so let me just break down post Monday Night War real quick. Okay, you saw Raw and Nitro, they competed. WWF stole all their ideas to compete. We went over that. Okay, post. Okay, 95, before Vince started copying WCW, was all the kiddie stuff, the school teachers, the dentists. I showed you that earlier in the other parts. Now you'll see how Vince McMahon, after 01, after WCW was gone, he literally went back to just his old kiddie formula that nobody likes. So you should hate Vince McMahon, not Eric Bischoff, because Eric Bischoff's the one who brought you that formula. Vince just copied it, and everyone's like, oh, Vince did it better. He's the king. He insulted you by just going back to his old formula, showing he never even really liked it. So that's an insult to anybody who ever watched Austin or all the stuff in 99 that was so popular. Right, Brittany? Because he literally went back to his old, just to give you a fuck you. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want because WCW's not around. That's why nobody watches today. I'll show you an example. Here's the report card. See? Dean Douglas, your teacher. See? He's the teacher. This is 95 when no one was watching WWF.
Here in my remote lectern.
Shane does a good job, despite it being so stupid, though. I love Shane, though. I got to meet him earlier this year. So he's the teacher, and he gives them bad grades, and it's the dumbest. Even Mick Foley shit on it in his book I was reading earlier. Okay, now you see. Let's fast forward to 05. This is 2005. They do the exact same thing over again 10 years later without WCW around. They make Matt Stryker your teacher with a chalkboard. All they do, not only do they copy everyone for ideas, but they redo their own ideas 10 years later, hoping nobody paid attention because nobody watched it in 95. How could you not tell me WWF's the biggest joke ever, Brittany? And people like this, saying Vince is the king? He redid his own dumb shit 10 years later. Your teacher? Okay, here's Scott Hall, who you saw in the NWO. Here's right before he jumped to there, and Vince made him some Cuban guy named Razor Ramon. Look at Al Pacino over here saying, hey, look at, okay, with the fruit.
Everybody, they want to be like me.
They want to be like me. And then he does the exact same thing in 05, 10 years later, with a guy named Carlito. Walks the fucking thing. Cool he's a Cuban guy at the fruit stand. You see how Razor Ramon was at the fruit stand? Look, the fruit stand. He's the exact same thing, except instead of a toothpick, he has an apple. Is that not the same thing, Brittany?
Yep.
It's a joke. He's a Cuban guy who goes, that's not cool. It's the same thing. And people don't know. They're like, they don't notice this? It's pretty sad I have to put this together to prove it. Do I even need to go on, Brittany?
No.
Okay, one last thing, though, really. Oh, look, one more last. Okay, you know Undertaker? Everybody knows the Undertaker for WWF. And you know how later on he became the biker? He just played himself. Remember the biker Undertaker on the motorcycle? That's Paul Heyman, by the way, the man behind ECW. He was even the biker, Mean Mark Callis, in WCW before he even went to WWF. WCW literally had everybody, and they just let them go because they had too much talent. It wasn't an insult. Everybody makes WCW be an asshole. Vince fucked over more people than WCW ever could. See? There he is with the biker in WCW. They didn't come up with anything. Nothing. It's just so pathetic. Oh, I want to get into this real quick. You know, Vince McMahon went to trial for all the steroids, how he was pumping all his wrestlers with steroids, but then he got indicted because Hogan and Jim Ross, everybody helped him out. Jim Ross even admits he helped him out in that one video I showed in part, what was it, 3, 2? Look at how small Eddie Guerrero here is in WCW, and then here's his last match before he dies because of a heart attack, because of too much steroids in 05. Because WWF, they want everyone big. Do you remember when I showed Ultimate Warrior earlier, and I showed how all their guys were all huge, and they didn't like any normal-sized wrestlers? Well, Vince put the pressure of them having to get jacked and huge just to become main eventers to get the world title. So they all took steroids, and then mixed with the painkillers and everything. Vince actually helped into all these wrestlers' deaths because of having that standard of having to be huge. So Vince really, he should have been stopped in like 92. Here's Eddie as the ladies' man with the roses, you know, and he thought, Mamacita, you know, at China. They stole this from WCW too. Every little thing like I showed you earlier, Jericho, they stole everything. Hold on. See, Eddie is when he had the crush on China.
You are Mamacita.
Mamacita. Eddie's the best. He did, here's WCW now with the Latino. Eddie Guerrero says, oh, I never got pushed. That's why you got your own group, the Latino World Order, which was to compete against the end of... See? Ladies' man with the women outside of the arena. They already did all this. This is WWF stole everything. Look at it. He's a main guy in the LWO, the leader of that group, and he claims he wasn't a super... Everybody knew Eddie Guerrero. He's just another guy like Jericho that WWF... Here's Raven, who you saw on the one part, talking about how Vince just fucked over all the territories. Here he is in WCW. And they were doing like the real type storylines where he's talking about his past, how his dad... See how he'd come to the crowd and everyone wondered why he was there, da-da-da-da-da. And he was like he's like the deep Edgar Allan Poe. He's like the grungy, deep philosopher that nobody understands. Like he's supposed to be like Jim Morrison, that type of thing, but he's a cult type because he's so deep. And it goes into the whole backstory about how his dad beat him and all that. They did like real in-depth storylines. See, everybody got airtime. This is Nitro. So they say like, oh yeah, WCW didn't build anybody. They built everybody, as I've been showing in these tapes, getting all this airtime, becoming superstars. It's a TV show. So that's a load of shit. Okay, so I pretty much made the point, right?
Yep.
Alright, well I just want to show the one last thing. I'm sorry. I love it. Oh, here's Paul Heyman before ECW's first pay-per-view. This is when they were starting to build. I just want to show this for people, because we didn't get to see any ECW. This whole thing, did we?
And this incredibly violent product
So,
is produced out of this peaceful house in the New York suburb.
so Paul Heyman produces the show in his mom's basement back then while she ironed. It was cool. Like, this is how they did it, like a family. He's like a cult leader, and everybody's like, it's a commune. And I mean that in a good way, like it's cool. They're all really close.
ECW is run like a commune. Its spiritual leader and owner, Paul Heyman. Here's the couch.
See how they work together to get the show done. See, problem is that Paul Heyman's cult-like personality, people believe what he says, and he hates Eric Bischoff, so he's another guy like Vince who makes Eric Bischoff seem like such a scumbag, and that's not fair.
ECW is the Ellis Island of wrestling.
And so I just wanted to show he's just so good at finding the best out of all of his talent instead of giving them dumb gimmicks. See, he does the opposite. Vince McMahon slaps you with some gimmick you can't do. Oh, you'll be a cowboy. Paul Heyman just finds what you're good at and pulls it out of you. That's why he was so good. That's the difference. I just wanted to show you the speech he does before that, showing that how he's like, people buy into what he said, but he's right. I'm not saying it in a bad way like he's a bad. I'm just saying that since he's so respectable, that you'll believe him if he says like Eric Bischoff's an asshole, and that's just not fair. Get it? If that makes sense?
Yep.
It's not fair to believe everything everybody says just because.
$20. Hopefully, for the privilege to see you guys do what you have done for 3.5 years. Thank Terry Funk for all he's done for this company, for help putting us on the map, for being unselfish and self-tied, for taking the young guys and showing them a better way. tonight we have a chance to say, yeah, you're right. We're too extreme. We're too wild. We're too out of control. We're too full of our own shit.
We're too full of our own shit. There's Shane Douglas.
Hey, fuck you, you're wrong. Fuck you, we're right. Because you have all made it to the dance.
You all made it to the dance. See, he motivates. He's the ultimate motivator, and he's brilliant. And that's just what I want. I don't know if you can hear it that well, but you get the point that he's this great motivator. Okay, so... Oh, I'm sorry. One last thing. Okay, so you saw it on the other part where Austin was making fun of the Horsemen. Remember when he was talking to Ric Flair and I was showing you how he feuded? Here's Kevin Nash pretending to be Arn with the NWO, because the Horsemen were their arch rival, like, group. So that's him being Arn, who you saw earlier in, what was it, part 3? This is just...
Average speed. Average quickness. Average looks. Average intelligence, average carpentry skills.
Carpentry skills? There's 6 being Flair, but...
I parlayed that into a wrestling career that, if I may say so myself, was quite excellent.
See, the NWO came up with the concept to dress up and make fun of who they're feuding with, which WF completely ripped off.
I lost the feeling in my hand. My left hand.
My left hand, my jerking off.
The significance of that's the hand I open beer with.
Oh. They're making fun. Because Arn Anderson had to retire because of a broken neck, and they made fun of him because they're the end of...
I willed myself back from that injury.
To be the bad guy.
I got in the gym. I didn't do anything. I walked around, but I got to the gym.
I walked around. All right, I know, I gotta skip. Okay, but to get the point across, that see how they mocked them? Watch how WWF copied the same thing 2 years later, okay? See, dressing up like who you're feuding with? Triple H and D-Generation X, copying the NWO. He pretends to be The Rock. See how Nash dressed up to look like Arn Anderson? Everything is an exact rip-off a year later. Is that not proof enough? Everything! How long are these parts? How much do I have to prove? Look at Nash and the NWO dress up like the Horsemen. Triple H, he's The Rock. In his group, The Nation. See how they all dress up like them? You get the point even if you don't know the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, say he's The Rock. So, okay. You get the point that WWF literally copied everything. You see it. Everything. While they're competing on the same show. So one last thing. This is WrestleMania 10, right? Which is 94, yeah. Because the first WrestleMania was 84. And guess what? There's Doink the Clown, there's the clowns, everything. It looks exactly the same as 84. This is right before he started copying Eric Bischoff. There's your proof right there. 10 years in. Okay. Remember I showed you before how Hogan, with the help of turning Eric Bischoff into the evil owner, and then he was like Hitler and took over through the NWO, the WCW. It was like a hostile takeover. That was the whole big... Well, Sting was like the good guy face of WCW. He like represented WCW. And the NWO took him out, and it was a cool storyline because they built it up for a year. He was gone, and he used to look all colored, you know, like really like hold on. He looked like a bright he looked like a bright surfer guy. He had like the really bright colors and the bleached blonde hair. But then when the NWO took him out, and he was gone for a whole year where you didn't see him, he comes back and they do the whole, which was really cool though. They make him look like the Crow, you know, Brandon Lee from the Crow movie. So he comes back like the Dark Dead. Like now he's all dark, and they did that really cool thing where they built it up for a year, where he was on top of the arena and sending down like a vulture and like a crow, like with messages to Hogan. This was built every week, like this, you know, the TV show, and it was so cool. And it was the ultimate showdown where Sting, after a year of Hogan's reign taking over WCW, he came back to be the hero, and that's why Pro Wrestling Illustrated, this was the match of the century, not WWF. See, this was the biggest thing. WCW. Vince just copied everything. That's what I wanted to show you. So I wanted to show one last thing before we end. I know we're cutting kind of long. I'm sorry about that. I just wanted to really prove it so I could end this already. Here's your TV ratings of just 97 before Nitro really starts. Look at that. Here's Raw, the same night now, 9/29. 2.7 Nitro, 4 million people. And it just got bigger and bigger where they doubled them and they ended up getting to like 6s. And they killed Nitro until WWF really started catching up and copying them. There's your proof right there. What more do I have to say? WWF's a hack. Woo. So, I hope I convinced the courtroom and the judge.
Yes, you did.
Thank you. And that is part 5. Finally, the curse is broken and spread this. I showed you how much truth. Okay, that's the end.